Hey guys, it is now 9:24 p.m. So I ended up telling our you know, bot thing. Um, I decided to try to set a reminder, and it worked. And that's exciting because it's not an alarm, so it only goes off I think twice and then it stops. So it's not like this jarring thing where you're like, okay, stop. um, and so I'm gonna do that. I mean, obviously she's about to leave, so but moving forward, I'm gonna have that set up I think at like 3:45 because and I'm just gonna say like the reminder is just gonna be switch the laundry. And so we'll go to switch the laundry, but even if there's not a load to be switched, I'm gonna say I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes and say we're gonna put away clothes for 10 minutes. And then here's the genius part. When the 10 minutes is up, if there's any clothes left, then put away 10 more items. That's going to motivate her. Like, that's going to incentivize to not run out the clock because you might be able to just get it all done in 10 minutes, right? And even if the clock is run out, at least 10 items will be put away. That's smart. But no, I'm excited because I think that's going to be a great kind of painless way, you know? So I've got the basket in there, which I showed her that. And then she took off her belt and left it on the ground. And I was like, no, take your belt to your room. But, and then, we switched the laundry. And that's exciting because, like I said, I feel like I'm setting up a system so that when I just see clothes, I don't have to, like, it's not like my brain has to constantly focus on that. It's like, wait, that has a time for it, right? So that's one thing. And then, oh, I attended a webinar about dreams like goals, and like what your dream needs to succeed, or like what it needs from you, from me. And that was really enlightening. I wrote down a lot of notes about that. Then I had another phone call, and that was good because it's just good to, like, basically I had a part of me that was like, I can't make chicken tonight, like that's too hard. And even though I know that that's not accurate, it doesn't mean that it wasn't like causing resistance, right? So I went ahead and, told my friend, like, okay, this is how I'm going to make the chicken. So that I was kind of, rehearsing it. And so I did that, which was good. Then I was like, okay, I'm setting aside a whole hour. That should be plenty of time to do dinner. Well, even though I defrosted those dang things for like 3 days, I guess they didn't seem frozen, but my point is they took longer than the drumsticks, like bigger pieces. So dinner took longer than expected, but it was okay because it was okay, and I just told myself, you know what? You can rush off to your meeting, but you don't have to. Like, again, these aren't like required meetings. And you deserve to like eat your food, you know what I mean? So I decided, yeah. Plus I thought, if I go to my meeting now, we haven't done like bedtime routine, so that means that we're not even going to do bedtime routine till after 9. But if I just finish eating, then we can do bedtime routine at like normal time. And then after that, we watched that new that vocal coach that I told you about. I introduced that to her, and she likes it too. So that was fun. And then did dishes and like cleaned up the kitchen, and then did bedtime routine. And I took a bath, and I learned about just another kind of mental framework, which is always good. Like, anytime I learn about the brain, I'm very happy because it's like my brain's learning about itself, if that makes sense. And I'm excited because I wrote down I message myself a phrase I can use when I realize that I'm having a thought that's from past conditioning. I can say no, and if it keeps going, I can say, what was it, like, end of discussion, and then purposely turn my attention to something else. So I'm going to write down what the person said too, because they said something different. But they said what I keep needing to hear, ironically, which is that it takes repetition. And, it makes sense that it's harder on days when I'm tired and don't feel good and right? It makes sense that it's harder on those days because it's almost like your defenses are down, So, and also when I was in the webinar about the dreams, they even said that your brain will, the part of your brain, let's say, the old version of you is fighting for its life. And that, remember, I've even said that I feel like I'm fighting for my rights, like my right to just live my life. So it's good to know that it's normal, actually, to feel like you're in an internal tug of war, and that that's actually ultimately it's a good sign because it means that you're making a change. Because remember, I said that in a previous video of the parts are like asleep and they're like, okay, status quo, and then when you try to change something, it's like, wait, what? And I think when it's something like smoking or something very obvious and visual and clear cut, you're either smoking or you're not. I'm not saying it's easier to quit smoking, but I'm saying it's easier to tell progress, right? Because you're either doing it or you're not. But I think changing belief systems can be harder or more complicated because it's more nuanced, Because so many people can tell me, like, you're doing great. It's like, right, and I am. But I'm not where I want to be, so I don't want to settle, So anyway, I'm just really proud of myself today. I did release tears today, and I know that helped me have that extra bit of patience and stuff tonight, and yeah, I had like an awesome night with my daughter, so it was all good. It's not a matter of being ungrateful by any means. It's the exact opposite, So anyway, I'm going to work on, not now, but one of the things I'm going to work on as well is writing down my current habits and trying to just write those down as if I'm taking data on someone else, Like, some of my current habits are people pleasing, like making decisions out of fear, putting myself, like, forgetting about myself, truly, abandoning myself, and doubting myself, I would say. Those are probably the big ones. And I thought about it, and I'm like, there's some habits that I grew up with that I did not adopt because I was not going to do that, So that shows that I have some sort of autonomy in picking my habits, right? And I have to remind myself I'm not responsible for anybody else's emotions. So if I have a healthy boundary and someone doesn't like that because they don't want me to have boundaries, that doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong by having a healthy boundary, right? But you can see how it'd be confusing. So anyway, another just really, productive, like, growth day. And I'm going to turn on a meditation. I'm checking the time, it's 9:34. I'm going to turn on meditation and just tell myself it was a great day. Like, I did a lot of work and I was there for my daughter, and I made dinner and the chicken turned out good once it finally cooked because I was like poking it with the thermometer, but the juices still weren't running clear. So I'm like, I don't know about that. So I just put it in for another 5 minutes. But I was kind of, bugging it, like, kind of like, because I was starving by then. But it felt really good to take the extra time to, like, I told you how I cleaned both sides of the stove today, and I told myself at the very least, make sure those are clean. Don't unravel the effort you've already put in, right? And I do the dishes every time anyway, so that worked. So it's a very, very good start, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm really grateful. So